Sony recently released their brand new top-of-the-line active noise cancelling headphones, and this time around they look completely different. But whether it's a new design or the old one, it's the brand that everyone has heard of and many can trust. Technics is, on the other hand, another Japanese company, but younger than Sony, but still with nearly 60 years of experience in audio, although not as much of a household name as Sony, and they too released their own redesigned active noise cancelling headphones back in February, although they were really available in March. So we have two very new ANC headphones. I'm gonna compare these two Japanese headphones all the way, and will at the end give you my personal pick. But first, let's address the elephant in the room, and that's the pricing of these headphones. I've looked it up, and it seems like the Sonys are more expensive than the Technics headphones around the world. Of course, it's ultimately up to you to decide if the higher price of the Sonys are worth it, but I'm sure throughout this video you'll get a sense of which pair of headphones are better priced. But I also need to tell you this. The price has always some psychological effects, meaning higher prices for many people equal to better quality, and the opposite is true for lower prices. So let's put this logic aside for now, and since the Sonys have a bigger price disparity between different countries and are more expensive than the Technics, I'll give a point to the Technics headphones for pricing. Both of these headphones can obviously be used during commuting and traveling. Unfortunately, they both come with a proper carry case. And I say proper because that's not always the case. No pun intended. Just take a look at the Apple AirPods Max, and what they have is anything but a case. The difference between these two is that the Technics have, in my opinion, a better case overall because it's more protective than the Sonys. It's a little firmer while still soft to the touch. The Sony's case feels thinner and more flexible and feels slightly more fragile than the Technics case. And it's made of fabric, while the Technics case has this leatherette, and it's much smaller than the Sony's. So in terms of better protection and quality, I think the Technics have an advantage here. But I really like the magnetic compartment that's inside of the Sony's case, which is for the accessories. So it kind of makes it a tie. However, the Technics headphones have an airplane adapter, which the Sonys don't. So I think in terms of the case and accessories, the Technics is the winner here. Before we get to the good stuff, guys, my name is Ryan and you're watching Ryan's Tech, and I wanted to thank you for watching this video. Alright, so when you want to buy a new pair of headphones, three of the most important things to consider are the comfort, sound quality, and battery life. So let's start with the comfort. The Sony WH-1000XM5 headphones are ridiculously lightweight. So how lightweight are we talking about? That's about 250 grams, so incredibly comfortable, right? Well, we'll get to that. The Technics headphones, on the other hand, weigh 298 grams, so almost 50 grams heavier than the Sonys. So does this mean the Sony headphones are more comfortable than the Technics? Not necessarily. If we take a look at the earpads of both headphones, we can see that the Technics have clearly larger ones. And when I press my finger into the earpads, the memory foam of the Technics headphones seem to take slightly longer to reshape to its original form. So while both headphones earpads are made of good quality, comfortable foam, the Technics ear cups have better padding, which ultimately means more comfort after several hours of using them. Another thing is that if you wear glasses, larger padding not only helps with the comfort, but also minimizes the possibility of any sound leak both ways. I've personally tried them both with glasses, and I've noticed that it makes them both slightly uncomfortable to wear, especially for long. But again, because the distance between the top of the ear pads and this hard edge over here is not that much with the Sonys, your glasses will be effectively resting against this hard edge and not really the ear pads. And lastly, because the ear pads in the Technics headphones are more plush than the Sonys, they're a little more comfortable, for example, with bigger ears, and they conform to the shape of your head around the ears better. So at least when it comes to the ear pads and ear cups, the Technics are doing a better job in comfort. But that's not all there is to the comfort level. One of the most important factors in determining how uncomfortable a pair of headphones can be is the clamping force. It's basically the pressure and tightness that you feel around your head when you wear the headphones. Now, there is a way to scientifically measure this clamping force, but the problem is that there is really no right value here, since everyone's head is different in shape and size. So it's basically you who needs to decide whether this clamping force is right for you or not. But in general, if this force is too high, the headphones are gonna be devastating to some people's head and ears. And if it's too low, they might feel loose, there might be some sound leak and things of that nature. So to me, the Sony's clamping force seemed to be around average. However, if you watch my review video, I mentioned that for those who have a sensitive jaw and nerves, these are not gonna be very comfortable. And here's why. If I now put the case in between the ear cups of the Sony's headphones, you can see that the ear cups have this angle and they don't pivot anymore and can't make a perfectly straight line alongside the case. Now let's take a look at the Technics. As you can see, these are perfectly straight, no angles. So what does that mean? That means that while the clamping force of both headphones are quite good, the distribution of the pressure in the Sony's is not nearly as good as the Technics. And that's why your head and especially your jawbones are gonna get fatigued faster with the Sony's, and it's a huge win for the Technics headphones, again, in the comfort category. But to be thorough, I took into account the headbands as well. And the Sony's have definitely better padding, but the Technics have a wider headband, which is great for better distributing the pressure. So at least when it comes to the headband, it's kind of a tie. Before I compare the sound quality and battery life, I want to talk a little about the build quality and the design choice. So while the Sony's have a ton of plastic material, they feel really good to hold. They feel premium. But the Technics headphones feel even more premium because they feel less plasticky, even though there are still lots of plastic materials used in making them. But I noticed that they make a tiny squeaky noise when I want to wear them. And despite the fact that when you look at them, they seem more premium than the Sony's, when you want to put them on or take them off, they feel slightly more fragile than the Sony's. But you can also swivel and fold these while you can't do that with the Sony's. But it's not a big deal because that doesn't make much of a difference on a daily basis. You have physical volume controls on the Technics, while touch controls on the Sony's, and I don't know which one is better, but I personally appreciate the physical controls. But with the Sony's, you get to have a physical button for noise cancelling and ambient mode, while with the Technics, you have to use the touch control. Again, I don't know which is better, but since the touch control can sometimes be very sensitive, I think having a physical button for this purpose would also be very good like the Sony's. Because almost every day I inadvertently trigger a noise cancelling or ambient mode with the touch control on the Technics headphones. Both of them have hidden proximity sensors to stop the music automatically when you take them off. Both of these headphones have 8 microphones and they sound great during calls. They both suppress the background noise very well, but the Sony's have an edge here. The noise cancelling is scary good on the Sony's, but still amazing on the Technics. But the Sony's just have to be the winner in this category. I've also tried them both with normal phone calls, WhatsApp and Teams. What I've noticed is that when there's a lot of background noise, like now, both headphones try really hard to suppress all that, which means it's going to have an effect on your voice quality, as you can hear. So in these situations, try to speak as clearly as possible and maybe speak a bit louder as well. In terms of the sound quality, which is the second most important factor when buying a new pair of headphones, both of these have a very close sound signature. But with the Sony's 30mm driver, you get a little more bass, and depending on what you're listening to, that can sometimes make music sound a little muffled. But the Technics have more clarity in vocals, so they pop more clearly, and the bass is slightly less than the Sony's, but you can still turn on the bass boost in the app without affecting the vocals that much and ruining the whole listening experience. So it's subtle, but it makes a good difference. So I think for a pair of noise cancelling headphones, right now the Technics EAH-A800 headphones could be providing the most balanced sound quality with distinct clarity with a 40mm driver in the market. But let's not forget about the battery life, guys. Believe it or not, the ear cups of the Technics headphones from the side are just a tiny bit smaller than the Sony's, or maybe even the same size. I didn't really measure. But why am I telling you this, and what's it got to do with the battery life? Well, that's because where the battery is, and the Technics headphones have 50 hours of battery life with the ANC on, and that can go up to 60 hours without the ANC. Hands down, best one in the market right now. The Sony's, on the other hand, came with the same 30-hour battery life as last gen's WH-1000XM5, but here's the funny thing. It makes 3.5 hours to fully charge the WH-1000XM5, while it takes only 3 hours to fully charge the EAH-A800 headphones. I mean, the math doesn't work here, but obviously I'm gonna go with the Technics headphones. And here are a few features about the Sonys that you can't find in the Technics headphones. One of those is the hold to talk feature, where you can just hold the palm of your hand on the right side to quickly turn on the ambient mode and lower the volume of whatever you're listening to. That is a fantastic feature which I really enjoy using because it's much faster than switching between different modes on the Technics headphones. The other one is the speak to chat feature, where once turned on, you can start talking, and again, the headphones automatically go to the ambient mode and lower the volume, and after 15 seconds of not talking, they'll resume. There are also more settings for the 1000XM5 headphones in the app than what you can find on the Technics app. And finally, there is the 360 reality audio and a free trial for that coming with the Sonys that you can't really get with the Technics. And lastly, both of these headphones feature a Bluetooth 5.2 connectivity, but I've noticed some connection problems with the Technics headphones from time to time when I've paired them with more than 2 devices, specifically with a MacBook Pro. But honestly, I haven't had these Sony headphones long enough to know if there are any problems with the multi-point connectivity. So far though, I can confidently say that they both work just fine with 2 devices very smoothly. Alright guys, that's it. I think we can clearly see which brand is the winner here. Both headphones are great and you can't go wrong buying either one of them. But my personal choice is the Technics headphones. Hope you liked and sub. Let me know what you think. Catch you guys later.